Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa. I'm an early childhood educator running my own home daycare, and I'm also a mother of 4 children who has been on the unschooling path for about 13 years. So today's video is actually a request from somebody who asked me to talk about being a projector, particularly a projector parent. This comes under the topic of human design, which I have become increasingly passionate about and have been learning more and more about this part of who I am. Firstly, I want to talk about what it means to be a projector in human design. Now, as I said, I am still on the path of learning everything I can about human design and being a projector, but I do know enough to be able to talk about this in the context of parenting. So as a projector, that means that my aura is both penetrating and absorbing. So I want to talk today particularly about the absorbing aspect. So that means that I can easily take on the energy of others around me when I'm in a room full of people and I start to feel a bit overwhelmed. That can actually be my aura absorbing the energy of everybody in that room, which actually explains a lot of things that I've been experiencing throughout my life and didn't know why. So I've always felt quite overwhelmed being out and about for long periods of time around lots of people, and often I would come home and feel very drained at the end of being social with people. So I want to talk about how this relates to being a mother to 4 children. As you can imagine, I'm taking in the energy of all of these children that are around me and have to be around me, particularly when they're little. And I didn't know what it meant to be a projector. I had not had the awareness of it when I was a new mother. And my conditioning taught me to just follow along the way that my parents did things and to just go, non-stop, do, and put all of my energy into these children all day, every day. And it hasn't been until recently that I've been able to look back at my life and that time being a mother and to realize that I was never meant to do things that way, because I am unique like other projectors in the sense that I'm not meant to actually just spend all of my time and energy doing something. I do need rest. I do need to use my energy more wisely. So what that has meant for me, looking back and now in the present moment, is that I do require a lot of space and personal alone time. Now, that might seem crazy when you consider that I'm a parent, and how could that possibly be, especially because I chose to homeschool my children and have them around me all the time. But when I look back on their time in school, I was actually spending far more energy trying to get them up and into a routine that really didn't fit me and who I was as a projector at all. And finally, when I discovered homeschooling, I realized that even though my children were with me a lot more, I actually had more time and energy for myself because my children were able to follow their passions and do the things that they wanted to do every day. And that left me with more time, as opposed to prior to that having to be stressed and forcing my children into bed and to eat dinner and get dressed and do homework and get up for school. This just was completely different. So I did find that I had far more time to myself, because the stress of having to parent, the stress of having to be responsible for everything my children were doing was alleviated. And so when I look back, I think that my drive for homeschooling really was this underlying truth within me, that I am a projector and I do need to carve out a path that is more stress-free and relaxing. So another thing that comes to mind about being a projector parent and what that has looked like for me is that projectors have this inner drive to see a better way. For me personally, I have always had this drive to seek knowledge and to find a better way to live my life and be a parent. I've always had these insights that were just there within me, and they were different to those around me and society and what everybody else thought was normal, what was a normal way to live and a normal way to parent. So I now can understand that everything leading up to me homeschooling my children and wanting to parent in a more peaceful, conscious way really comes from being a projector and having that inner drive to see through the cracks. And that's the penetrating aspect of the projector aura, is the ability to see through and penetrate and pierce through illusion. And when I look back, I realize that I've always had this ability to see the illusion and see through it and feel compelled to find a new and better way to live in the world and be a parent. So what that has looked like for me is going on this journey of doing everything I possibly can to parent in a better way, one that is aligned with peace and joy and harmony rather than stress and control and authority. And homeschooling for me was the perfect path to become aligned with, because that was me seeing a different way and allowing my children to leave the public schooling system and go on this wonderful wild journey of learning freely has really opened my eyes even more and allowed me to really embody that part of myself as a projector. Coming back to the aspect of being a projector where my aura absorbs the energy around me, what that means is not only do I need some personal space and a lot of alone time, but I need to be aware of any of my children who exhibit highly intense emotions. And now I do have a child who does experience intense emotions and has often had intense outbursts, which have left me feeling quite stressed and overwhelmed. And before knowing that as a projector, I need to just come back to my own energy and become grounded and be able to respond peacefully. I have been able to respond peacefully and calmly in intense situations where one of my children are exhibiting intense emotions. But sometimes that's not the case, and I still can get very overwhelmed and feel very sensitive to their emotions. So there's a bit of a balance that I need to find. So I don't necessarily need to just abandon my child during their emotional outbursts. I need to find a way to be in tune with what's my energy and my feelings and what's my child's energy and their feelings. If I can remain grounded in my own energy and not completely take on that child's feelings, then I'm able to be present and remain calm and remain as the eye of that storm during that outburst. If this is not the case, it's not actually helpful for me to react in any way, because sometimes before I respond, I do need to take a moment to gather my thoughts and my feelings and then come back to the situation. It's helpful to have the other parents step in during these times so that my child isn't left alone and has their needs met. But it does mean that sometimes I can't go on outings with this child, and I have to use my energy wisely. I have to prepare myself for times that I will need to leave the house with this child, knowing that I am going to easily become overwhelmed and stressed. And I have to plan around this. I have to do things like have my partner with me to take over if I need to step away to calm myself down. Or I plan things that are not going to be stressful for that child and things that are less likely to trigger an intense emotional outburst. Projectors don't have a constant flow of energy. So this is why it's important to take breaks and to take a rest and not force myself to do too much as a parent, because I need the rest to rebuild my energy, and I need to listen to my own inner rhythms as to when I feel that energy present, and then go forth with that energy to carry out tasks. If I don't do this, I experience what's called burnout, like many other projectors, and I have been there. I experienced burnout constantly as a young mother, forcing myself to do things that I really didn't want to do. And these days I've learned to be honest with my children. If I don't feel like going out for a drive after work, then I will say no. I'm more honest. I have boundaries now with my children, understanding that it's not one way or the other. I do need to balance my energy so that I do have time for them and can do things that they want to do. But if it is feeling forced, or if I'm feeling stressed because I'm doing things that I don't want to do, then I'm going to blame my children. I'm going to get angry and stressed and feel tired and burnt out. So yes, as a projector parent, it is very important that I am honest and I don't put pressure on myself to do too much for my children. And thankfully, they have become very accepting and understanding of this, because as all children do, once us parents are honest about who we really are and we are in our integrity, that is inspiration for our children. It teaches them how to honor their own boundaries and listen to their own inner guidance. And lastly, I want to talk about the strategy of the projector, which is to wait for the invitation. And what that looks like for me as a parent is not stepping in and telling my children what's right or wrong, telling them what to do, or giving unwanted advice. Rather, I need to wait until they are ready to come to me and say, "Hey mum, I'm not feeling too good. Can I talk to you?" Or, "Hey mum, I'm ready to try this thing." Often I have struggled in the past with believing believing that I know what's best for my children and trying to tell them, or pushing a subject onto my children that they are not interested in. This actually means that homeschooling is the best strategy for me as a parent, because we actually unschool, which means the children learn based on what they are interested in and passionate about. This aligns with me being a projector because I can let them learn what they want when they are ready. And if they are struggling and need help or guidance, I am there ready, waiting for that invitation. Then, when I receive that invitation, I can go in and give myself wholeheartedly to my children. As a projector, it never goes well when I butt in and I have my say and I give advice and opinions where they are not asked of already. So this means not only taking personal time and space for myself, but allowing my children to have their personal time and space and not getting too close and overstepping any of those boundaries, and just learning to be more patient no matter how difficult their challenges may be, and to just wait until they come to me. I hope you've liked this video on projector parenting. If you have anything to add, I would love to hear about it in the comments, and I'm sure that I will have more to share about this as I continue the human design experiment. Love to all. Bye.